welcome to the tetrahedron model making challenge. Tetrahedron is basically a 3D object that has 4 sides. They are equilateral triangles. This can be a difficult model to make, so just take your time and we'll get through it. Now I've started this with some thin gauge card, like sort of cardboard from a cereal box. You can use cardboard for this, but I would scale up the model itself and not make it so small. Now I've made my model really small. I've gone for 60mm, that's 6cm sides. You can scale this up to whatever size you want really. Obviously you're governed by the size of your cardboard, so think about that before you start. I've started on a crease that's already in the cardboard. I've started at 0 and I've marked at 3, which is the midpoint. I've also marked at 6cm or 0, 30 and 60mm marks and put a line across. I've then marked another line that is 120 long with 60mm being in the middle, and this line is perpendicular then to the original line, so perpendicular means 90 degrees too, and that's the result. So the next stage then is to create a line that is 60mm long from the original corner of the triangle you made in the first instance. This will ensure that all the sides are 60mm long, and that's really important. Now I've mirrored that on the other side and ensure that it is 60mm long. So continue that around and you should have this rhombus shape. Now the next stage can be quite tricky. You want to make sure that the triangle is a proper equilateral triangle, and to do that we need to use a compass really. There are other methods you can use to do this, but I think compass is probably the most accurate. You need to set your compass to 60mm on the radius, and then you need to project a line that is 60mm away from one corner of your triangle and do the same from the other corner, and what you get is a cross. And what you do next is you extend the lines from the corners up to the point of that cross to make another triangle, like so. Now another method, if you haven't got a compass, is to just extend the existing line from the other triangle across to 120 rather than 60, and you get a similar result. So repeat that last process and you get your final triangle. What I've done next is I've drawn in some arrows to show which way my shape will fold up. I've put some tabs on there to help secure it together. The final thing you need to do is just to cut it out and actually score the lines. Now scoring lines allows you to fold accurately. Now be careful when you're scoring these lines. I've used the corner of the scissors and I've done it directly on my kitchen table. Now this is my kitchen table and I'm not really worried about it, but I'm sure that if you damage the kitchen table in your house, someone's going to have something to say about it. So please put something underneath. And also, if you want to get an adult to help you doing this, because the scissors is obviously quite sharp. But it is a good process to make sure the lines are accurately scored and folded. You get nice neat creases in there. And once you've done that, you need to use some sort of glue or adhesive just to attach the shape together. I've used this rolling glue stuff. It's good because it's liquid and it dries really quickly. You can use Pritt Stick, but you'd probably have to put it on quite thick and hold it in place for some time. Sellotape's alright and it works, but it doesn't give you that sort of nice crisp finish you get at the end. Whatever you choose though, just take your time. The final product then is a tetrahedron. That's the basic modeling technique we use in design technology to sort of get started with looking at solid modeling and prototyping. So next I'm going to make a cuboid box. The dimensions are 80 by approximately 120 when it's finished, and it's got a sort of flap lid. I'm using a thicker cardboard for this model just to show you the difference, and it's 2mm modeling card. You can use normal cardboard boxes. They're about 3mm thick, so just be wary that you might need to make your model, or your lid, sorry, a little bit bigger than what's shown on the video. The first stage is I'm going to use the corner of my material, because I know I've got a nice 90-degree angle on the corner to mark inwards of 80mm. using my steel rule. I've then transferred that measurement above across 80 millimeters, so then I can draw a nice line that is perpendicular to the end, that is 120 millimeters tall. Now next I'm just going to transfer that measurement all the way down the bottom edge of my card, so that's 80 millimeters in each time. So going from 80 again across. If you look closely, I've got 3 extra marks at the bottom of the card. I just need now to extend those lines higher. If you look closely, you see them, and make those lines 120 tall. I've marked the dimensions on this image for you. The next stage is to put the base measurement on top, which is just a square of 80 by 80 millimeters. Now I would always advise to use a protractor to extend these lines. You want to have a good level of accuracy when you're making these angles, otherwise when it folds together it's just not going to fit. Now, as before with the tetrahedron, I've marked where I want the flaps to go. I've just penciled them in rough. There's no need to be too accurate with these because they won't be seen. The last part of this is the lid. Now I've made the lid 85 millimeters by 85 millimeters square. The reason I've done this is because the lid needs to be slightly bigger than the actual cardboard box that it fits into. Now if you think about how wide the sides are, they're about 2 millimeters wide, so I've added 2.5 millimeters to either side to make it 85 instead of 80, and that will give it just a little bit of governance then to allow the lid to slide on and slide off properly. The lid walls I've made at 30 millimeters long, and I've added then the flaps to where I want them to be. So after that, just cut it out. Again, same process, be careful. I'm scoring the lines again with the blunt end of the scissors, and I folded them up and sellotaped and glued it together. Now I did use sellotape for the outside of the box lid and some of the box because it didn't really adhere too well. I've literally now just attached with 2 bits of sellotape the lid to the rest of the box, and that's a functioning box now. So that's it really for the basics of model making using card. You can take this to the next level in making your own designs or making your own boxes or storage units out of card. There are many benefits to using cardboard in modern products, as they're highly recyclable and it's cheap material to use. You can also paper mache these boxes to give them a bit more sort of strength and sturdiness, and then you can also paint them and they look really nice actually. So thanks for watching. Don't wreck your mum's table.